Hi guys, well it's Pastor Larry again, and today we're doing another interview with a couple of wonderful friends of mine, the Crables, and we're talking about raising up a child. Now, when I talk about raising up a child, I'm talking about utilizing the prayer ministry that I've been teaching and working with for a number of years. I'm talking about utilizing that restoration prayer ministry, if you will, as a common, normal, everyday experience in lives of young families trying to raise children, in the end, allowing Jesus to truly raise your children to answer squabbles and to deal with the issues of life. Well, you're going to enjoy my interview, I think, with Mike and Ashley. Wonderful young couple. Both have experienced extensive work with Restoration Prayer Ministry, and they've got a very active young family, 5 children all total, and I think you're going to enjoy some of the wisdom and some of the things that this couple has taken out of understanding prayer ministry, and some of the blessings that it's bringing to them and their family and their children. They have 2 active little boys at home and 2 active little girls at home. And if ever there was a family that needed to have Jesus in the middle of it, it's the Crables, as is with most families.
I'm Mike Crable.
And I'm Ashley Crable.
Well, guys, now that they know who you are, what are you going to talk to them about today?
Restoration ministry with our children and how it affects us in our home and with our family.
Why don't you tell me how you got it started in your family? I'm talking about dealing with the children.
I guess it started with me, with my oldest son, who is 9 years old now. And it probably started maybe, I'd say 2 years ago, roughly. And I guess the first experience I had with Malachi doing it, I just took him down. He had kind of some rough stuff going on and had a bad day. And I took him downstairs, and you could just tell that there was something a little bit deeper there. And I took him downstairs and kind of explained what we were going to do as far as, this is what the process of talking with God, of hearing from God, of letting Him speak truth to the lies that are kind of driving us. And I guess I kind of first started out with what the voice of God sounds like, especially being that young. I don't think I've had guys that didn't understand what exactly they were expecting to hear, whether it was that big booming voice or so I had to explain that it was that still small voice and that it was in us, and kind of did the classic bottle trick. This is without saying anything out loud, this is what is this? And then when you could see that kind of vision come across his eyes of him saying, okay, yeah, I got it. And I was like, that's what Jesus sounds like. Sounds just like you. And so once he kind of got that, then it was like, all right, now let's just close our eyes and let's figure out what's going on, and kind of walked him through the restoration there. And he was 7. Yep. So as we began to kind of work, I kind of questioned. I mean, he heard from God right away. I mean, there was no hesitation, and so we just continued to walk through the memory and walk through the feelings and the emotions and stuff that was going on, and just hearing the truth. And you could tell that some of the responses weren't a 7-year-old's response, so you knew that Jesus was talking to him, and that he was hearing that. And so it was huge, and we were able to just kind of there was a point that there was some fear, I think, that was kind of happening, and after we got rid of the lies and the anger and the stuff that was going on, then the fear, we were able to kind of see another memory with that and what was going on truly. And so once God spoke to that fear and what was going on, and it kind of not just allowed him to hear from God and to speak truth to those, but it also opened up communication between us, because at that point then he was able to hear and understand what I was saying and how I was saying it, and help him kind of process the emotions and bring logic to the situation, as well as the voice of God. So that was kind of the first experience, and I think a lot of me was shocked and surprised that it was able to work, because I had never really done it, and I kind of waited until they were older because I didn't understand whether they would make that connection or how to truly walk them through that at a young age. And once that happened, it kind of, I guess, broke that barrier of going, oh, they can totally do this, and explained everything with Ashley, and then it just kind of became a routine thing of when I think we probably use it more with our boys than we do our girls. I don't think they're 3 and 5, but I don't think they've really had enough of the emotion.
How
where
many boys? How many girls? How many kids you got?
I have 5 kids. 4 are still at home, and it's 9, 7, 5, and 3. So the 2 older are boys, and then the 2 younger girls. So yeah, with the boys, it's definitely getting them out of their emotion and in the hot spot of it, and getting them to kind of calm down enough just to take a breather and then turn around and go, okay, now let's walk through this process, because that's one thing you can't hear from God at all when you're angry. So you got to kind of let that go a little bit, take a few deep breaths, and then but following it up with that is.
I think it's key to mention that what helped us best do this with our kids is the fact that we had been doing it on ourselves for a while, and we had experienced how much it had set us free, and how much more peaceful we felt about situations after hearing God's voice to them. And when you've done it yourself and you've experienced that, you can relay it to your kids with a whole new confidence. And obviously your kids are looking to you to fix the problem. They're looking to you to trust it. And so when you're kind of shifting and say, hey, I'm going to help you, we're going to get through this, but I'm actually going to direct you to Jesus. And I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, the boys, they're less than 2 years apart. So there's a lot of tendency for them to just butt heads as brothers. And more often than not, they walk away from situations feeling angry, but more often than not, as far as situations where we have to use this. But it starts out as anger. And so quickly we realize it really had nothing to do with anger. It had to do with some sort of hurt that they were shoving down, whether they felt left out, or they felt like they weren't strong enough, or that the other one always wins. Simple things that it's not really anger you're dealing with at all. And right, we do have to get them to calm down, take a few deep breaths, and breathe a minute. So oftentimes it starts out as like, you need to get away, you need to get some quiet time, have some peaceful space here, and then following up with them within 5 to 10 minutes to say, okay, what's really going on
Ashley,
here?
you were mentioning that it's a good tool to use when resolving arguments and issues between the kids. You want to share a little bit what happened just recently?
Honestly, just before we came here, we had to do this with Niall. Niall had gotten upset.
Explain Niall just a little.
So Niall, he's a really awesome kid. He's really compassionate. We actually found out after settling on the name Niall that it refers to being a champion. And we feel really confident that Niall is going to be a champion of hearts. He feels things so deeply. He's just very passionate about everything. So when he gets excited about something, it's overjoyed. But when he gets angry about something or hurt, he feels that wound in his heart. And as we were getting ready to leave to come here, he got really, really upset with me because he is 7 years old, and he felt that I was favoring his brother, basically, who is 9. Basically what was happening is they had baseball practices and they were at different times, and I needed to make sure each one showed up with a full belly and could make it through the baseball practice to eat a complete dinner after baseball practice. And what that meant was that I was making one child a sandwich, and the other child was headed to eat a full complete dinner in about 30 minutes, and then he would be going to baseball practice, and that was Niall. So I didn't make him a sandwich. And he was just 0 to 60 upset and angry and stomping his foot through tears, yelling at me, "It's not fair." And I'm trying to explain to him that it's not about the quantity of food you're getting here. It's he needs to go with a full belly and you need to go with a full belly, and everybody's going with the full belly. This seems fair to me. He was not having it. So I sent him to his room, said, you need to go calm down, go take a breather. And then after, and actually our kids know this now, they don't wait for us to come up. They usually come down about 5 minutes later and say, can I come down now? I'm done. And so I said, okay, let's talk. And we sat down on the bench, and I said, you need to tell Jesus how you feel. You need to tell Jesus that you feel like it's not fair. And, he was still a little edgy, angry. So it was, well, I don't know how. I can't do that. And Niall, let's sit down. You've done this before. We can do this. I'll walk through it with you. And so I had him sit down. I said, close your eyes, quiet your mind. And then I said, now tell Jesus that you don't feel like it's fair. And mind you, I'd already explained to him that it was perfectly fair, given him all the logic, right? And he tells Jesus, I don't feel like it's fair. And I give him a minute to just hear. And I said, well, what did Jesus say? And he said, that it's fair. I said, all right. And he just looked at me and I said, well, does it make sense now that you heard it from Jesus? And he goes, yeah. I said, all right. Like it was just, everything was fine. He was completely at peace with it. There was no explanation needed. As a mom, I feel the tendency sometimes to try to explain it all and give all the logic and lay it all out, when all he really needed was to just hear Jesus telling him that it is fair and it's all going to be fine. And he had so much security in that.
And his mood changed instantly.
Absolutely, yeah. He took off and went to hang out with the girls in the living room while the rest of us got ready to go, and it was done. It was totally over, completely over at that moment. I think that, it's been a couple years since we've been doing it.
I was going to say, how old were they when you began this with them?
7, 5, 3, and 1.
Yeah.
And Serenity, I have done it with Serenity.
Who's old?
Serenity is our oldest daughter. She is currently 5. I think she was 4, just pushing 5 the first time we did it. And she's got a really sensitive heart, and it's very inward and quiet, and you'll see the lip quiver before you ever see the tears fall, and she's trying to hold it and contain it. And she and I were up at the table together, and she was kind of having a moment. I can't remember exactly what it was about, but I remember she was upset that, it was the boys wanted to do something just boy time. And so they didn't want her to join in. And they had tried to explain to her, well, this is just boy time. We're doing brother stuff right now. And she felt left out. And we walked through it, though, and by the time we were done, she was smiling again. So
she hears from the Lord good?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And when the kids hear from the Lord, they change.
Yeah.
They do.
You can sit there, and it's like you were just kind of saying, that you can sit there and talk till you're blue in the face, explain it till you're blue in the face, and not get across it all. But, when Jesus speaks to him, it's done. It's over. I mean, he speaks to the soul.
Yeah.
Solves the issues.
Yeah.
We've had to sit them down sometimes after some really intense arguments between the two of them, where they are just so angry at the other, and we've walked them through forgiveness, like inviting Jesus in and helping them understand, like, I understand it's really hard to forgive your brother right now. I would be upset too. I get that. But who can help us forgive? Jesus can help, well, let's have him help you forgive. And we do that. And they literally walk down those stairs. They go find the other one, and they give them a hug and say, I'm sorry. And they apologize for their part, and it's over. And it's not just over, though, as like swept under the rug. It's over and healed, and growth in their relationship. We see them bond afterwards, and that to me is one of the...
I hate to break it off right here, but I hope you're enjoying the interview with Crabels. We'll put more on next week, because they've got some dynamic things that's taking place in their family, what their boys are learning, and how God is helping those little guys truly be raised up. It's wonderful, the dynamic that you'll see and hear in the next video. So subscribe to the video. If this is blessing you at all, please subscribe, and you'll be notified that way when we post our next video. Post every Tuesday. So if you like it, give us a like. If you're confused, give us a comment. Let me know where you're at in all this, friends, because I want to help you. I want to help you help your children be successful in life, and to help bring greater peace right into the midst of your home, right in the middle of a tumultuous world we live in. We can have great peace and perfect confidence in who we are as men and women, boys and girls. So stay tuned, subscribe. I'll see you next video. Bless you.